Well, I have to say, what a contrast. Earlier today, we heard Governor Dayton on this House floor lay out a vision for our state that was about fairness and opportunity and broad prosperity. He laid out a vision for a broadly prosperous Minnesota, a state that works for all Minnesotans again. This afternoon and this evening, we have been rushed back to the House floor following that speech to act on a bill that really offers no vision whatsoever, other than blindly and randomly hacking at fairness by raising property taxes, hacking at opportunity by raising tuitions for college students, and hacking away at any sense of shared responsibility for solving this budget deficit and for taking care of the future of this state. 68 of you have already voted to cut financial aid to students, to cut veterans, to cut soldiers, to cut flood relief. I'm glad that that's been fixed in this time around. But we have been rushed back to the floor, members, to watch you break many of the promises that you made on the campaign trail, watch you break promises that you have made since the election happened and since this legislative session happened, and to play politics with a sure veto. This bill will not be signed, and the governor has indicated that, as opposed to actually getting things done. You said your top priority was jobs, and yet you eliminate jobs in this bill. You eliminate police and firefighters and college professors and support staff. You said you'd hold seniors harmless, but you're raising property taxes on those very seniors. You said that our children would be a priority, and yet the children who most need someone to protect them are being abused as your victims today with this bill. You said you wouldn't raise people's taxes, yet your first bill inevitably will raise property taxes. You made big promises on the campaign trail, and you're already breaking them here at the Capitol. Now, I heard a lot of talk today about tough choices. But let's look at the choices you're actually making. Representative Winkler was exactly right. The choices that you're making is to put choices off to the governor, $100 million of choices to the governor. You're not taking responsibility for that. Over $500 million of choices to local governments. You're not taking responsibility for that. You're saying you figured out. Almost $200 million of choices to higher education institutions. You're not taking any responsibility or making any choices at all in this bill. Let's be real about that. The fact is, none of us dispute that we're going to have to make some very tough choices this year. Governor Dayton said it today. The DFL caucus has said that all the way along. But in contrast to this bill, we refuse to check our values and our reason and our priorities at the door, no matter how dire the crisis we face. We reject this flawed belief that the middle class must continue to bear the burden of our state's economy and balancing this state budget, when that budget burden should fall on everybody in this state. Ordinary Minnesotans have been squeezed too much by Tim Pawlenty's policies, and you better bet that what you're voting for today is simply a continuation of Tim Pawlenty's policies, not anything that happened over on this side. Bemidji and Detroit Lakes, Alexandria, Willmar, Marshall, Moorhead, Mankato, Albert Lea, all of these communities have spoken out and asked you not to kill their small businesses, because this is an increase in taxes on small businesses of almost $100 million. Not to raise their property taxes on individual families, not to make them pay when others will not. Where is the fairness in this proposal? Chambers of Commerce from Crookston to Albert Lea have said that this bill hurts business, but here we are on a runaway train of reckless Republican budgeting. Minnesotans are paying billions of dollars more in property taxes over the last several years, members, because of the politics that this bill continues and expands. From across the state, people are asking us to stop this direction. They're going to town hall meetings, writing letters to the editor. You see some of this on the information that Representative Hillstrom handed out. They're begging us to listen to their justified concerns about what this bill is going to do to their communities. Well, Minnesota, I am sorry to report that the Republican majority is not listening. They continue to rush this bill through. More important, Minnesota, prepare for a lot more of the same and worse from this Republican legislature because of all the promises that you have made on the campaign trail. There is one promise, and Representative Davids repeated it today. There is one promise you have consistently and repeatedly insisted that you will keep. You have told Minnesotans that an all-cuts budget will be delivered. Not a single dollar of new revenue. No casino revenues, no taxes, no fees, no school shifts. $32 billion is enough, and you're going to cut $6.2 billion. Well, members, I want to see that budget. I don't want to see this partial piece of work. I want to see that budget and not another bait and switch. This is a political bill with a guaranteed veto result. Let's put your money where your mouth is and show us what $6.2 billion in cuts actually looks like to the state of Minnesota. You said you're going to do it. I want to see that bill. You're elected to govern. You said you're going to do business differently. That's what you keep telling us. But this bill isn't leadership. It's about passing the buck. It has no vision. It has no rational justification. It doesn't tell the people of Minnesota at all where this state should be going. It simply recycles where we have been. I would ask all the members to vote no.
The member from Blue Earth, Representative Cornish.
Mr. Speaker, would Representative Thissen yield for a question?
Representative Thissen will yield. Representative Cornish.
Representative Thissen, are you aware of any promises that I've made in the campaign trail to my constituents?
Representative Thissen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't know about you specifically, but we have all literature and all kinds of stuff for many of your members. So we know what was said on the campaign trail. And more importantly, we heard Representative Davids repeat it today on behalf of your caucus. We've heard your House leadership repeat that today on behalf of your today and on other days on behalf of your House caucus, that you are going to protect children, you're going to protect people with disabilities, you're going to protect seniors, and you're going to do this all with $32 billion and not a dollar more. That's the facts. So thank you.
Representative Cornish.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, Representative Thissen, I got a news flash for you. Next time you campaign, don't make any promises. Just make a promise you're going to do the best you can do. That's all I did. I told people to hang on to their whatever because it's going to be brutal. You think this is bad, wait till later. We got a $6.2 billion deficit. If you didn't have the guts for this job, you shouldn't have got into it. I mean, this is bad. And I approve of House File 130, and I'm going to vote proudly for it. It's the best job I could do. I wish I could do better, but with the available money, this is it. So, good luck.
The member from Washington, Representative Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. We have before us a first step in what will be a long process over the course of this session to come together at the end of the session and hopefully leave on time with a balanced budget. This is a first responsible step that we can take to do so. We've heard from the other side of the aisle that this may be reckless and that the majority party is rushing its way through. Well, I would respectfully disagree. This has been through a process. It has been through the committee process. It has been changed to accommodate some of the legitimate concerns that we have heard from our friends who are in the cities and in the counties and some of our partners in government who've helped us through this process. I've said that this bill is like a 5-pound arm curl, and we're going to have to bench press 300 pounds pretty soon. And if we can't do this, we're not going to be able to do that. So it's not going to get any easier. And one of the things that I really want to bring up is that there is a time necessity to this. If we want this to affect the February forecast, we have to have it done by tomorrow. That's why we're here at 6 o'clock at night, February 9th. We need this done by tomorrow. We need this done to lower the hill that we're going to have to climb by $1 billion. I would respectfully disagree with my friends on the other side of the aisle that says that there is no fiscal emergency right now because we have a surplus. I can tell you that the rainy day funds have been drained. The can has been kicked, and every other euphemism has been taken out of the box and used and reused. It is time to get serious, and it is time now. I don't know that any of us really campaigned on status quo or status quo plus inflation or going back to the way things we used to do. I didn't. I know you didn't. And I think we've got some difficult challenges ahead of us. Representative Holberg has brought forth a reasonable bill to help us and, quite frankly, help the governor with his budget that is due us next week on the 15th, next Tuesday. $1 billion to the good, $1 billion in responsible decisions in the right direction. I would implore you to help us work together to take this first step. It's the first green vote. We began by making government smaller, in our committee structure, in the way we're doing things. This is a transparent piece. This is a first step. We don't want something that is done at the end in a dark room without committee input, without people from the outside looking in. We want things to happen a step at a time along this session. It will not be easy, but we are going to take the first responsible step with a green vote. We would ask the governor to carefully consider this to help him with his budget that's due us next week. Thanks for everybody that worked on this important bill. Ask for your support.
Members, the House is under call. The clerk will take the roll on final passage, House File, Conference Committee report on House File 130. The clerk will close the roll. There being 68 ayes and 61 nays, the Conference Committee report as amended, as it is agreed